I'm Robert Bruce Thompson. This is the Home Scientist video series brought to you by MakerShed. In this sixth and final segment about forensic latent fingerprint development, we'll explore dusting for fingerprints, the oldest technique of all. Fingerprints are dusted with a fine powder which adheres to the skin oils present in the fingerprints. Excess powder is removed by gently blowing or brushing, leaving the latent fingerprints outlined in dust, where they can be photographed or lifted with transparent tape. Dusting is sometimes used to reveal latent prints on porous surfaces, but is used primarily on glass, metal, and other non-porous surfaces, particularly immovable ones. Dusting and lifting latent prints is dangerous for the prints. Although experienced technicians can work wonders with dusting, an inexperienced technician can destroy fragile latent prints faster by attempting to dust them than by any other method. I'm inexperienced, but I'll give it my best shot. Okay, let's get started. I've made a specimen by handling this blue bottle with bare fingers. Now, commercial fingerprint powders are available in many colors and varieties, including special magnetic powder and powders with fluorescent dyes. We can get along with just two, a white powder for contrast on dark objects and a dark powder for light objects. If you need the dark powder, make some lamp black by smoking the bottom of a beaker or similar glass object with an ordinary candle. Rub the fingerprint brush in the lamp black to pick up some on the tips of the bristles. My object is dark, so I'm using ordinary baby powder as my light powder. And we just need a little bit in a flat dish to get started. Now, you'll also need a soft brush, makeup brush, lens cleaning brush, or you can even substitute a feather. To begin, dip the brush lightly into the powder. You want to pick up just a small amount on the tips of the bristles. Using too much powder is a real rookie mistake. So, handle the specimen carefully. Touch it only in areas where you don't expect fingerprints to be. For instance, with my finger in the top mouth of the bottle and my thumb on the base. Now, just apply powder very lightly to the surface. Use a twisting motion, and you'll soon see if any fingerprints are present. Refresh the powder as needed, but again, you're much better off with too little powder than too much powder. You may be able to see it on the video. I have a very distinct, what looks like a thumbprint coming up there. And it appears that I have a couple of distinct fingerprints on the other side of the bottle. So, don't make too much effort to brush off excess powder or over-treat the fingerprints. More fingerprints are ruined that way than by under-treatment. All right, so pretty quickly we have our fingerprints developed on the bottle. Now the next step is to get rid of any excess powder, and you can do that with by blowing gently with a puffer bulb or with canned air. If you do use canned air, make sure to keep the nozzle at least a foot or 30 centimeters away from the object and use very short bursts. Otherwise you're liable to blow out the fingerprints as well as the excess powder. Okay, so there we have it. We have two very distinct fingerprints on this side of the bottle and a thumbprint with lots of ridge detail visible on the other side of the bottle. Now, at this point, the prints are clearly visible. The next step is to photograph them before attempting to lift them. The lift process uses special lift tape, although if you want to try a lift, you can substitute ordinary clear transparent office tape or packing tape. To make the lift, you'd simply cut a length of tape, gently smooth it, making sure not to leave any wrinkles over the surface of the object that you've treated, that you've dusted, and then pull it off in one motion and transfer it to a card or piece of paper that contrasts in color with your fingerprint powder. That's all there is to it. If you want to learn more about dusting and lifting fingerprints, see Forensic Lab Session 8.1 in the Make Science Room. This segment concludes our look at forensic fingerprint development. In the next segment, we'll look at making chemicals on the cheap, how to synthesize expensive, pure lab chemicals, starting with cheap, crude chemicals sold in hardware stores, pottery supply stores, lawn and garden shops, and so forth.